Hello guys, and welcome back to another Tweaker Man video. So today we're going to be taking the front grille off of these ESL-57'S, the quad electrostatic speakers. So we're going to remove these side panels first and the feet, and there's a couple of other bits, and we're going to give them a good hoover out inside. We're also going to be getting rid of the dents in the front there. There's quite a dent in there which we'll push out from the other side. This stuff's very soft actually. It's I don't think it's brass. I think it's some sort of brass plated. Anyway, let's get to it. So first of all, we want to take these screws out the side there. Now it's important when you're laying these down to put it on something soft. You don't really want to damage the front, the grille. It's made of, as I say, is some sort of metal, and it's quite a soft metal, and then it's plated in brass. Now the reason why I know this is fairly soft metal, it's because these sides have just been stapled through the metal there. And when I stapled, so I've already finished one, I stapled it on, it goes straight through the metal really easy, and the staple doesn't even bend over, so it's relatively cheap. So what I'm going to do is take the other one of this off, and I'll be back in a second. So what we need to do now, we've taken the these two fins off the sides. Okay, so now we've got to take the back panel off here. So this is a matter of just undoing all of these screws. Some of them spin a bit because they're in ply. They're just going into ply. There you go, that one's coming out. So we have to sort of use a pair of pinchers and pull them out. And then all I did when I put it back was to stick some very thin bits of wood in the hole just to make it nice and strong. So what I'll do is I'll take this off again and I'll be back in a minute. Right, okay, so we've undone all these screws around, and now we've got this earth wire there that's running onto the front grille, and it goes to the back grille here as well. So we've just got to remove that screw off of there first, and then we're going to desolder this under here. So we're going to just lift that up a little bit there. Okay, and now we're going to try to desolder that out of there a bit. That's it, that's out. Right, okay, so now it's a matter of removing this back now. Okay, hopefully there's no other screws in there. There we go. So we're going to just lift that up. See, there's a hell of a lot of dust. Actually, to be fair, this one is a lot less dusty than the other. And another thing is the other one, the speaker connection in the speaker connections, the banana inputs there. On the other one, that one was red, and this one was black. Now, for some reason, this is brown. Now, it sort of almost indicates that this may be a marriage of two sets and not from the same set, but who knows. So this is the plastic. It's like a plastic film that's on the back, and it reminds me of that stuff you used to buy in the 80s, where you'd put a bit of double-sided tape around your windows, and then you'd pull this plastic across them, and then you'd heat it up with a hairdryer, and it went taut, and it was like a cheap double glazing way of doing double glazing, and this is what this feels like to me. So we've got to be very careful with that. Now that don't look too bad inside there, but what we've got to do is we want to just give it a good vacuum out and a clean. So we have some staples on the side here, you see those there, and we've got to release those first, and they've gone a bit rusty, so they tend to snap in the wood. There you go, that's one out there. And what we'll do, we'll remove those, and then we'll be back in a second. Right, okay, so we've removed the grille there. There we go. Right, we need to pull that right the way back there, just so it comes off. just pop off underneath there, like the other one did. That's it. It doesn't matter if it doesn't come off, because we can keep it like that for now. So what we've got to do now is we've got to give this a bit of a hoover, because it's in a bit of a mess. So we're going to put the hoover on, and we're going to use a paintbrush like so, just to very gently, look at the amount of dust is in this thing. Now this is a very delicate membrane here, so we want to be extremely careful. Right, as you can see there, we've hoovered it all out, and we've got all of the dust out of there. It was filthy. So I'm going to do the other two panels, and then I'll be back in a second. So these two sides have got like a conductive metal spray over the top of them, it looks like. So you can see where it's deteriorated very slightly in those areas there. So I'm not really that familiar with these speakers, you see. So all I'm doing is giving them a general clean-up. I have a feeling that they're not working that well. I've played them, and it's a bit above my pay grade to really go too much further with these. So what we're going to do now is flip it over. Well, we're going to turn it round and take the dent out of the front now. So here's the dent in there now. So you've only really got to get your finger behind it and push it up, because it's, as I say, it's very soft, this material. And so there you can see we've removed the dent from the front, which is nice. So that's going to give them a better look now. So what we're going to do is just going to push this back down here now and staple these sides back again, because what we want to do now is we want to just finish the front off, and then we're going to go round to the sides, to the back, sorry, and then and fit the back on. Just make sure that's all up properly. Right, okay. So I'm going to do that now. So we've got the sides, the grill fitted back on. We'll give it a good hoover as well. So we're just going to staple these sides on with a staple gun. See, like, it goes straight away through. There's loads of holes, but it's still staples straight through the metal. This is very soft. That's why the front grills are so easy to dent in. Okay. Right, okay, so now we've got to resolder this earth wire, which earths the front panel back onto there. So we push that through there, and we just need to put a bit of solder onto there. Nearly there we go. So that's a nice solder joint there. You see, there we go. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hoover all the mess up that's in here. There's a lot of dust and that. So I've always used a paintbrush, because we don't want to get any damage on this panel there, which is get in there with a paintbrush. It does it really well, right? We've hoovered all this out now. Look, it's got a lot cleaner all along. And now I'm just going to put some deoxit on some of the connections at the back here, because there's a lot of them that have they look like they could do with a bit of something on them. So and this is like a little link that connects from the center there to the sides, and these are all different settings on there which look like voltage settings. So I'm going to clean that up as well and push that back in. So I've treated all the connections to the power supply with some deoxit, and also the inside of the crossover part there. So it should all be hopefully better, but we'll see. I did try these out. There's a bit of crackle going on there, so I have a feeling that, as I said before, they're probably going to have to have a full service by Quad or someone else who's a lot more experienced than me on these. But I've given them a good clean up. So we've got, there's so much dust inside these, unbelievable. So we're going to fit the back on, and I'll be back in a second. Right, that's all into place there, so I've just got to screw this up now. So we've screwed it all back together now. We're just going to touch up the woodwork on it. So what we're going to be using is some special powder polish just to go over the black, and anything that's chipped off of the black, we tend to use just a black marker pen just to colour in some bits that have lost their colour. It works really well actually. Just and then you go over with a bit of polish, and it just colours it in nice and neatly. So if you see that now, all it does is just cleans up. We're just cleaning it up to give it a, you know, they've been stuck in a garage for a long time. There we go. Just go over there. I'll touch the teak. They're actually beech. The legs are made out of beech, but it's teak. It's a teak stain on them. Go under that wire. Try not to get any of the polish on the wire there too much. There we go. Just go around here. What I'll do, we'll give that a coat the legs as well there. As I say, we're only giving these a tidy up. I was hoping they would work straight out the box almost, but they haven't. So now you can see the bottom's all nicely cleaned up. So I'm going to turn it upright and do the sides and the top part. So you can see, like in there, in that part there where it's all dusty, it's not dusty, I've hoovered it, but it just goes dull. So all you do is just give it a coat of special powder polish on there, just round there, because it's plywood that's been painted black. And then you can see, look how well it comes up. It comes up really well. So as you can see there, the sides go a bit dusty, and they go a bit marked and that. So you just give it one coat. Look, it's not a miracle cure, but it just gives it a new lease of life. Yeah. And any bits, like I say, that the black's chipped off of, you can just put a bit of black marker pen on them, and that tends to sort the problem out. So moving on to these fins, these are also made out of beech as well. So we've got some teak stain there and some extra fine wire wool, and all I'm going to do is just give them a light rubbing over with the wire wool just to get any bits of rubbish off. Now this is only just a touch up on these. This isn't a strip and polish. This is what you'd call like a cosmetic, just a cosmetic attention on these. So I'm not sure how old this set is exactly. They're either 60s, late 60s, or early 70s, I'd say. But it seems a bit weird. One looks, I've got to check the serial numbers on them, just to see if they're the same serial number or they're different. That's one thing I haven't done yet, which I'll do in a minute, and I'll tell you whether they come from the same pair, or whether one was, you know, a lot of these things, one breaks down and you purchase a second-hand one somewhere, and that could have been what happened. I don't know. So we're putting the stain on now, nice and easy. Okay, although this stain is going over a finish already, all it's doing is just colouring in bits that have got chipped and marked very slightly. Yeah, you do need to wear a glove with this, doing this really. Right, so we've got our other bit of cloth now. All we want to do is just wipe off the excess oil stain. This is an oil stain that's gone over this. It's not a spirit stain. So if you was to put a spirit stain over these, being cellulose based, it would stick to it too much and go all dark and horrible. So all the oil stain will do is it will just sit on top of the old lacquer, but just fill in any little bits that are chipped off. So that's the compressor going off again. There we go. Give it a good. And then what I'll do is I'll leave this for 20 minutes or so to dry off, and then we'll just put a coat of polish on them, and then we'll screw them back onto the 57's, and then they're going to go off to back to Alan in Berkhamsted. Because and then I'll be picking up the 63's from him, and I'm fitting some binding posts on them. So I'll be back in a second. So I've let them to sit now for a while, and this is what we're using again. This is heat resistant special powder polish. This is resins dissolved in alcohol, and it's a very hard wearing finish. And you put it on by hand, so you can put it on with a cloth. It's a form of French polish, but a modern version, opposed to shellac being dissolved in alcohol. It's resins, so it gives you a, I think it may have a little bit of shellac in there as well, but it's mainly resins in alcohol. Right, so there you go. We just flow it on with a cloth, and on small bits like this it goes on lovely. You just give it one coat. You don't need to give any more on this, because if you start giving it any more, what will happen is it'll pickle up and start reacting on the surface of it. So there we go. They've had one coat on those. We're going to leave those, and we're going to screw them back onto the 57's in a minute once they're dried. So there you go. The fin looks very nice. I'm not entirely sure. I'm calling it a fin. As I said, I'm not that familiar with these speakers, although my uncle had a pair and I used to listen as a child to them. But so there we go. We're just going to screw those screws back in. Let's just give these a general tidy up. Okay, tighten that one up. There we go. So here we have the 57 totally finished now, all tidied up, and you can see the gleam through there, just there. All the dust has come out, so you can see the membrane there, the plastic membrane underneath, which is interesting, and all the woodwork's cleaned up, so it looks quite nice. And here we have the back, all nicely tidied up. So let's look at this serial number here, okay, which is 20959. So let's go and check the other one out and see whether it's the same serial number. So you can see this is 20987. Now obviously these may be, oh look Milo, the Jags dog's turned up. Oh, you're admiring the 57's, are you, Milo? No, we're not listening to these now, Milo, no. But they've come up well, Milo, haven't they? Yes, I know you're admiring the workmanship. So they all may have a different serial number. Well, this is all new to me, these quads, so I don't know, but I'm going to drop them over to Alan in Berkhamsted now. So I think that's it for this video. So thanks for watching another Tweaker Man video. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to give this video a like. Don't forget to press that notification bell so you're notified each time I upload a new video. And thank you for watching, guys. Say goodbye, Milo.